All right, welcome back, guys. We're here for episode number 2.1, because we forgot to put the microphones on for the last one. I'm here with my buddy Kevin again one more time.
What's going on, my man?
What's going on, dude? How you been?
Good, man. It seems like I just saw you last week. I'm just kidding. No, but
Did I see you last week?
yeah, we filmed episode 2.
Was it just last week that we did that?
Yeah, we filmed episode 2, but technical difficulties. Now we made sure 3 times that our audio was good.
We got the iPhone. Oh,
yeah, we got the iPhone because this guy's on an Android. So
video quality all of a sudden is gonna be on a different level.
Big Android guy,
according to Kevin.
Yes, according to me, iPhones are superior.
But we'll see, because now we're using rear cameras and we can't see if it's recording. So who knows? 10 minutes from now, we could decide that there's no video.
It should be good. All right, let's get started, man. So, topic number one is...
I want to know how your Rams did this weekend.
Oh, okay.
How your Rams are going to fare against the Minnesota Vikings, bro.
Well, to be honest, we've already beaten them earlier in the year.
I know, but Minnesota's playing... They didn't play well against Detroit last week.
Right. But I will say the Vikings are kind of coming off a down game as far as their quarterback. And the Rams defense has allowed less than 20 points over the last 4 weeks.
Okay, but what was the Rams? The Rams' best win this year? Be honest.
Buffalo Bills and the Vikings. Let's be real. We kept up with Josh Allen.
Okay, that's all right. Those are 2 quality wins.
Quality wins, 14 wins with the Vikings.
Okay, but you still only ended up with 9 wins, bro. You limped your way into the playoffs.
10 wins.
All right,
10 wins. Let's get that factual. A little bit more than the Niners, too.
4
but let's not get into the the rib shots
don't
there.
Don't hurt my feelings. I still owe you a couple of 6-packs for both those losses.
Yes, you do.
We lost twice, bro. To those, we blew fourth quarter leads to them twice.
Well, especially the first loss against us. The first one earlier in the year.
Don't even get me started.
You guys had that dub. Jawan Jennings.
I don't know what's better. What's worse, losing in the Super Bowl? Because I've lost 3 Super Bowls now.
Yeah.
With Colin Kaepernick, with Jimmy Garoppolo, and now with Brock Purdy.
Yes.
Or just missing the playoffs altogether. Which one hurts worse? Have you lost the Super Bowl? Have you been a Rams fan your whole life?
Yeah, dude. We lost the Super Bowl to the Patriots.
That's true.
Yeah, in 2018.
Yeah. But you also beat the Patriots. You probably weren't even born then. Back in 2002. One of Tom Brady's when Tom Brady was on his first dynasty run, didn't the Rams get one of those?
No, the Patriots won that.
Patriots won both.
Tom Brady made a fourth quarter last minute.
Back when the greatest show on turf was with Isaac Bruce and Marshall Faulk and who was the quarterback at the time?
Kurt Warner.
Yeah,
man, he did a Tom Brady and pulled the fucking last one on us. So it is what it is. But no, man.
But you've lost one then. You lost one in 18.
Yes, we lost one in 18. Yeah, we won one. We beat the Bengals 2 years ago, 21.
You're right.
You don't remember when Cooper Kupp got that triple crown?
Once the Rams are there, I'm like, let's just turn the TV off.
This guy. Well, we're going to make a deep playoff run because right now we're going to talk about our NFL playoff predictions because we're big sports guys. So we figured if we start talking about that.
I mean, I think I'm taking the Lions. It's tough. It's tough because...
For the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Okay, right on.
I think...
Why, though?
I think they're playing strong, but I would honestly, I maybe think Kansas City and Pat Mahomes are going to come for that three-peat.
Right.
But because I've lost, I'm salty. I'm torn.
They've beaten this guy twice in the Super Bowl.
I'm torn because I love to witness greatness.
Right.
I love watching Tiger Woods win that next Masters championship. I loved, even when Tom Brady, I was a Tom Brady hater because I hate all Boston sports. I'm a Lakers fan, so no Boston Celtics, no New England Patriots. But when Tom was winning his 7th, I'm like, damn, that's a boss right
that's
there.
Greatness,
you know what I mean?
Bro.
So I like to witness greatness. So from that perspective, would I like to see Pat Mahomes actually pull out that three-peat? Yeah, but I've lost twice to him already, so I'm a little bit salty. So half of me is muff that guy. Half of me is all right.
So then who would you take instead of the Chiefs to go all the way?
I think I'm taking the Lions, bro. I think they're playing strong. I think they put a beat down on Minnesota Vikings. They're the number 1 seed. They're going to get a bye.
Yeah.
I think they're going to play strong, and I think you're going to have your work cut out for you to get past the Lions.
Well, here's the thing. We're going to beat the Vikings, I hope, and then we're going to beat the Lions in a revenge game. And we'll see what happens. We'll probably see the Eagles in the NFC Championship, and that's the game I'm scared for. I'm not scared of the Lions. I may sound delusional right now, and I'm not scared of the Vikings either. But if we see the Eagles, it's hands on sight. We might lose that game.
I'm not. You shouldn't be scared of the Vikings. I think the Vikings were a little phony this year.
I'm not scared of them. I'm not scared of the Vikings.
I think their record is inflated for the team that they are. But we'll see.
But. So, yeah, my favorite to come out of the NFC, if it's not the Rams, let's do the Lions. I'm rooting for Jared Goff, ex-Ram. And then if it's not in the AFC, I think I'm going to go Chiefs. And if it's not the Chiefs, let's go Bills. I'd like to see Josh Allen get a ring.
So in the AFC, I take the Bills as well.
Yeah.
No, I mean I'm probably picking the Chiefs.
Ravens?
I'm probably picking the Chiefs. Let's go Chiefs, Lions, and let's take Lions to win it.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think I'm with you there. I'd like to see the Lions get their first championship, I think. Right?
No more football, man. Let's see what Let's see what you're doing for work. Tell me why you want to go to Buffalo Wild Wings with us today.
So, man, I might have I am getting ready for a listing, so I gotta get a CMA prepared. I gotta get some I gotta get my listing presentation a little bit more tuned up, and then I mean we're gonna do that this month, so I'm very excited about it.
That's what's up. Yeah.
Yeah. What's exciting is that my first listing was a manufactured home, and now this is going to be a single family residence, single level home. So it's going to be a different experience, but all the same, I'm very excited.
So have you only done one listing so far?
Yeah, it's my second listing. Yeah. All the other transactions have been buyer clients.
And where did you find this client?
This is another lead that I've actually nurtured over the last year. It's a Spanish-speaking client. And I mean, just a relationship that I've built. It was actually given to me at my brokerage. Like, hey, work with him. Like, you're Spanish speaker, whatever. And
what were the obstacles? Like, why did it take a year to get to this point? Like, what were we working on? Was he waiting for the right moment to buy? What was the obstacle to sell? To sell. That's what I mean. I know, but if he's selling, is he buying again?
No. So the plan is to move out of the state. So it's a relocation. Like, don't know what he's going to do after that. The plans is to just move and kind of.
So the timeline was like it's not time to move yet.
Yes, exactly. And so they were waiting for the right moment, and also just kind of sitting out on the sidelines, seeing what the market was going to do, and just go from there. So,
what do you think as far as if he's asking you right now, is right now the right time to list my house? Am I going to get proper value out of it? What are you telling that seller right now?
So I'm telling the seller that right now it may be a little bit of a slower time in the market, but homes have been staying firm as far as prices. People are getting, in certain cities like Boise, Meridian, even Nampa or Caldwell, they're getting like 90 plus 95% list percentage. So that means that what the home is listed for, you're getting pretty much up to that amount.
So, so what that means is that most houses right now are taking a 5% price reduction?
No, you're saying that you're getting what you're selling the home for is what you're gonna pretty much get.
And do you think that's based on agents doing their due diligence ahead of time, making sure they understand what the market is and understanding the market value of that property before they ever even put it on the market?
Yes, 100%. Research is a big component of getting the home ready for the market. On top of getting just the physical aspects, the curb appeal, all that, it all jumbles into one to be able to get it to that point. Because if you price your home correctly, you're going to see some benefit. And if obviously there's downfall, if you price it too high, if you price it too low, you're going to see downfalls there. But if you find that happy median, and sometimes it can be hard to find, you're gonna see some success.
Well, tell me more about that. What do you mean it can be hard to find? Like, how do you, as an agent, find that happy medium? What's the process that goes into it? Obviously, you guys do CMAs, a comparative market analysis, right?
Analysis, yeah.
Tell me more about that. I mean, what does that mean to our viewers out there who don't know what that means?
Yeah, so a comparative market analysis is basically a comparison of like homes compared to your subject home, and you basically pick anywhere from 4 to 6 homes sold within the last 6 months to a year around the area that you're selling that home.
Do those 4 to 6 homes have to be sold over the last 6 months?
Yeah, typically you'll get more accurate data that way.
Okay. What if you can't find 4 to 6 homes that fit that similar type of property over the last 6 months? What if it's in the sticks? What if it's in Homedale, Marsing? You don't have 6 properties that are similar that have sold. You know what I mean? What do you go off of there? Do you go off of maybe 1 or 2?
Yeah.
Do you then get to compare them to maybe properties that are in Caldwell? Like, how do you compare that? Because Marsing and Homedale are not going to compare to Caldwell or Nampa because the location is 100% what matters in that scenario.
Right. So yeah, that's definitely, you run into issues like that. I ran into an issue like that with my first listing. There was no trailers like that or comparable to that, so I had to kind of look outside the area a little bit. But outside the area a little bit, you find some comparables, and when the price is so out of reach, like for example that trailer was like less than 100,000, but there were some comparables outside the area that are listed for more. You just basically do like a price adjustment to those comparables.
Yep.
And then you find value after that. So
yeah, I mean, it will definitely speak to the value of having a knowledgeable agent in your corner for sure to make sure that you understand what your house is worth. I always try to tell people. Yeah, I always try to tell people this. Like, it's a very inaccurate science. Like, even the appraisal value that comes back at the end of the day, that's a single appraiser's opinion of value. A house is only worth what someone's willing to pay for it.
Yes, 100%.
So if you have an offer on a house where a buyer is willing to pay that amount, the appraiser is going to come in and try to compare it to 6 or however many comparable properties they can find over the last 6 months and try to make their best opinion of value as to whether or not this house, compared to the other houses that have sold over the last 6 months, has the same value. But it's a very inaccurate science. It's not perfect. It is an opinion of value. You could have one appraiser come through and appraise a property at $415. You could have another one come through and say, nope, I think this one's only worth $400.
100%.
So those types of things happen, and it's tough to explain that to the client, but at the end of the day, what I try to explain to the client is this is why you need a professional agent in your corner to be able to help you navigate those things. Because even if you list it at a certain price, it goes under contract, and then the appraisal value doesn't come back at that value, that's when you need that real estate agent in your back pocket to now go in another round of negotiations, because now all of a sudden you got to negotiate to make up that difference. If it's a $10,000 or $15,000 difference, somebody's got to give it up.
Yeah,
on one side or the other, or maybe all parties. Like the one transaction that we had, we had all parties give up a little bit to make the numbers work. And so those types of things happen all the time.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And this is going to be putting Patrick on the spot right now, but we're going to switch things over to something completely different right now. You're local, no?
Well, yeah.
I'm
technically I'm from California, but don't tell people that because everybody hates Californians around here. But I moved here when I was 5. I moved here in 1992. So
I was just thinking because Homedale's a little bit outside the area.
I don't want to age myself, but I have been in Homedale or in Idaho for 32 years.
No, I'm just playing. But no, Patrick, you know the area pretty much like the back of your fucking hand. Let's talk about best tacos that you can get in this.
Oh my Lord!
In the Treasure Valley.
You were gonna ask me a work question. Tacos, that's my jam. What you mean?
So listen. We're gonna rank. He's gonna rank his top 5. It doesn't have to be in a specific order.
Oh man, you put me on the spot though, because I don't have them off the top of my head.
Exactly.
I could tell you top 5 spots everywhere in the valley.
So you're gonna tell me your top 5 taco spots in this area. Ready, go.
That's too tough, man. Okay,
well, give me your top 3 then.
Tacos El Rey in Cabo. I'll give you a bunch. Tacos El Rey in Cabo is fantastic, bro.
I love that place.
And it's the best Tacos El Rey location. Don't get me wrong. Some of the other locations are great. There's one in Nampa. There's one in Garden City. Yes. I think maybe they have a standalone.
With the Garden City one
they might have a standalone restaurant now in Garden City, right? It used to be a truck. But the Tacos El Rey in Cabo, it's the OG spot. That's the one to go to. That one's great. There's a spot off of Garrity in Nampa.
Pantera?
No, Pantera is great though too. Pantera on a Sunday, bro, after the cruda. Yeah. Ooh, my Lord, they have carnitas there that are to die for at Pantera. Pantera, but only Pantera. Well, I don't want to say only, but I don't know. No disrespect to the other Pantera restaurants in the valley, but Pantera number 2 downtown, or maybe it's Pantera number 4. I don't even know what number it is. Right. Whatever one is downtown Nampa.
So Pantera.
That's the spot. Pantera downtown Nampa is sick.
So right now we have Tacos El Rey and then we have Pantera. What else we got?
I really like the one off of Garrity and Nampa, but I can't remember what it's called. But they do Al Pastor after Trompo.
Ooh,
oh my Lord, bro!
Fire.
Especially in the summertime because they got music bumping. They got it's the one that's right there in that convenience store across the street from the gas station, or not across the street from the dealership. It's right by Lakeview on that corner. Anyways,
by
that
the Waft Bank.
That one's fire.
No, that's
I don't
a different
know.
one.
Maybe not.
I don't know.
I love.
All right, what else?
Let's see. Amano's in Cabo, but Amano's not a taco.
But Amano's a restaurant.
Amano's a restaurant. You're gonna sit down and eat.
Yeah.
So okay, just Tacos El Rey.
Give me one more.
Let's do. I really like Coalcoman in Boise.
Okay.
Do you know where Coalcoman is?
I've been there. It's on
Fairview, yeah. Where the old Los Betos used to be. There's a spot right there.
I've been there.
In that little shopping center behind there. Coalcoman.
Let's put that
also
in there.
fire, bro.
Have you ever had Campos Market?
Campos Market on Orchard, yes. I have a Campos Market right down the road from my house.
Okay, have you ever tried the food there?
Yeah, they're good.
Okay,
they're good. They used to be better.
Yeah,
they used to be better.
Fair enough.
We don't go there as much anymore. If I'm going to get up on a Saturday or Sunday, I'm going to Pantera usually.
Right. And then one more, man. I don't know. This is a kind of a cool spot. Have you ever had El Chavo? It's a taco truck on Overland. They do cash only. The last time I went there.
Honestly, a lot of these places do cash only, but
yeah, no, that's cool. Anyways, that's his top 5. Honestly, ours were very similar. I would add in El Chavo Loki, like on Overland. If you guys haven't tried it, try it. It's very good. And what else, man?
Have you driven up the boulevard nowadays, like the Nampa Caldwell Boulevard, going from the Nampa Karcher area to the McDonald's in Kimball area down there on the boulevard? That stretch is only like, I don't know, 6 miles long, 8 miles long. You drive up that road on a Friday or Saturday, bro, you're going to see like 6 or 8 taco trucks. I just did it the other day, and I was driving up the road. I was like, where do all these taco trucks come from? Dang. Every mile you drive, there's one on this side, there's one on this side. They got the places that have the fruit stands. They got the places.
The fruit stands are always amazing.
Especially in the summertime. Right now,
the summertime,
it's
too cold right now, too cold. No, that's good. I mean, tacos are always amazing, and this area has a lot of good spots. So if you're ever looking for some awesome spots, check some of these ones out that we're recommending. And then if there's any more that you have, drop them in the comments, because we'd love to get some new recommendations that we haven't even mentioned.
How come you didn't come with me to the event I went to this morning? It was a good event.
Well, listen, man, I have other obligations that I have to be at.
Oh, what are these other obligations? It sounds like you got a 9 to 5 and you're only a part-time agent.
Yeah, so I actually, secrets out, I'm a full-time employee credit union locally here, man. And so real estate is a part-time gig. That's why we're having to film this late in the evening. But I mean, a hustler's mentality.
Not for long though. I'm gonna get you into the game for real. 100% committed.
You're hustling even when you're off work, and that's kind of my mentality.
2025 is the year, bro. We gotta make some moves.
Yeah, let's make some moves. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, that eventually we can make this a full-time gig. But as of now, we're putting the pieces in place.
But don't quit, because we talked about this.
Not quitting.
We talked about this like a week ago. And you and your girl are getting ready to be first-time home buyers.
Yes.
And it's going to be really important that you keep the income that you've been earning as a W-2 employee. Because even though you're making 1099 income as a real estate agent, we're going to want to be able to qualify you off of that W-2 income 100%. That you've got. So keep doing both for now until you secure that house.
100%. And that's been kind of my plan and kind of the 2025 roadmap that I have. But explain to the viewers, for somebody that's in my similar situation, let's say you have somebody that's like Patrick. I have a full-time job. I have about 2 years of work history, but I have a side gig, and I don't have how would somebody be able to add that extra income into the approval process? Can you explain that a little bit?
So when you have dual income, you have to have dual income for 2-year history. That's what makes it tough. So say somebody has a full-time job and they've been working that full-time job for even 5 years.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden they want to get approved for a house, and we say, it's not quite enough income.
But I have extra income.
And they say, I'm just going to go out and get a part-time job so that I can add extra income. That's great. You can get a part-time job. It's no problem with that. It'll help you in paying down debt. If you need to pay down debt, it'll help you save for a down payment. But we can't count that extra income as part of your income because you haven't been doing it for 2 years. In order to count dual income, we have to have a 2-year history of 2 jobs. So you have to have your main job and your side gig for 2 years consecutively, which in your position, you do.
And I'm almost there.
Yeah, you've been a W-2 employee for however long, several years, a couple years now, or more.
Yeah, it's a long time.
So you've got your work history established, great. But because you've also now have 1099 income for 2 consecutive years on top of that W-2 income, now we can count both. But you have to be able to have both years consecutive, and if we're going to count that dual income. Otherwise, we can only count the primary.
Yeah, no, that's great advice, just because a lot of people don't know that. And, this is why we're here. We're here to share our experiences and talk about these things.
Yeah, man. I mean, everybody's scenario is a little bit different. What I would encourage anybody out there who's looking to buy or sell in the near future is just call somebody like us, because we're just going to be able to walk you through it.
We'll drop the knowledge.
Yeah, for sure. But man, I really wish, for real though, you should have came to that event today. I should have bought you a ticket. But
okay, so let's do this. What were your 2 top takeaways, and explain to the viewers why you thought they were so important?
Man, it was a room full of agents. It's 150 agents coming into 2025.
They're all hungry, man. They're like, I did my business plan.
Well, they're all hungry because they're starving because nobody made any money last year.
They're like, I'm ready to roll. I'm going to change everything this year.
So everybody's real motivated because all of a sudden they have their New Year's resolutions, and this is going to be the year, and this is a rah-rah moment. But we had great speakers. It was Rhonda Conger. It was fantastic. She always gets everybody fired up. So she's the first one that started off the morning. She was cool. But yeah, my biggest takeaway was one of the mentalities they were talking about was good markets will hide bad habits. The changing markets will expose those bad habits.
Correct.
And what do I mean by that? I mean that in 2020 and 2021, when in the mortgage industry rates were dirt cheap, they were low, your phone wouldn't stop ringing. You didn't have to put in the work to generate leads. You didn't have to put in the work to get better at your job. Your phone was just ringing nonstop. You were able to bust out a bunch of loans. People were making money hand over fist. But then all of a sudden, those leads start to dry up in 22 and 23 because interest rates are high. Refinances basically vanished. There's no more refinances. Now you're only working on new home purchases. And new home purchases, we saw new home sales continue to drop as well. I think I saw a statistic recently that it was like something like 33% down over those couple of years, year after year after year. And so what you have to be able to do is in these tougher markets is you're building the habits that you should be doing on a daily basis. It's the same as going to the gym. It's the same as saving for a down payment, trying to improve your credit score. It's small, consistent daily habits that you do on a regular basis over time. But time is probably the biggest component of that. Consistency obviously is huge, but time is the other. You're not going to save a down payment overnight. You're not going to change a 500 credit score to a 700 credit score overnight. It
takes time.
You're not going to go from this body to this body overnight.
And right now, this is showing off my best features. Right now, I got a little bit of a beer gut.
But the point is that if you want real change, whether it's in your job, in your marriage, in your physical fitness at the gym, in your finances as far as how much money you're saving, if you're trying to buy a house, these change, or in our professional industry, in the real estate industry, in the mortgage industry, you're not gonna have these things develop overnight. 100%. What all the people show on social media and stuff, they try to show the glamorous side of look at this house I closed and look at this car I'm driving and all that kind of stuff. But in reality, the work is behind the scenes. It's how many hours a day are you making outbound calls? How many hours a day are you following up with past clients? How many hours a day am I following up with referral partners? And you have to do it on a daily basis. It's not a one-time thing, or you do it for 3 or 4 or 6 months and all of a sudden you establish yourself and then you don't have to do it anymore. That's not at all what it is. I think the people who are most successful at our business are the ones who understand and accept that it's the daily grind. Every single day. It doesn't end. Whether you generate leads through social media, you generate it through past client database, you generate it through a referral partnership or anywhere in your social circle, whatever it is, it's got to be consistent and it's got to be over a long period of time, and it's got to be every single day.
No, that's an awesome takeaway. One thing that he mentioned that I really want to emphasize to the viewers: the daily grind and just continuing and continuing and continuing, not to stop. That's awesome. That's a great takeaway, man. And give me one more. Give us one more blessing for the viewers that you can be like, this is a great takeaway.
That I took away from the event this morning?
Yeah. Because you gave us a really good one, man. That was a great explanation. You got me all fired up.
I like that one.
I'm fired up now.
I mean, really, the rest of what they were talking about is that, they were comparing, they were showing us numbers on the graphs and stuff, and I've got pictures of all the graphs that I took.
We talked about this before the pod, is that spending time with like people that like reevaluate certain. That's a good one. I'd really like to share.
Absolutely, that's a great jumping off point. Reevaluating where you spend your time, and I was joking with Kevin about where I spend my time with agents and things like that. But that wasn't necessarily the point.
He was taking a shot at me. He doesn't want to make podcasts.
What I'm saying though is sometimes you got to be a little bit selfish. Sometimes you got to reevaluate who you're surrounding yourself with. There's always that saying, the sum of your net worth is the sum of your network. So it's the people you surround yourself with the most that are influencing you the most. And if you're just surrounded by people who maybe aren't doing the things that you want to be doing, you might have to take a look around and say, is that guy an example for me? Is he motivating me? Right. Is my circle, my group of friends, my coworkers, the people that are in my office, the people that are in my church, the people that I surround myself with the most? There's a statistic out there that like you're influenced 90% by like 6 people in your life.
Yes.
6 people in your life influence you the most. Who are those freaking 6 people that you're surrounding yourself with? Yeah. You better make sure that they're in positions that you want to be in. So a lot of the mentality today was like, where are you spending your time? Make sure you're spending your time. Exactly. But there's a lot of truth to that, man. You got to take a moment to reflect and say, who am I truly surrounding myself with, and are they helping me become the person that I want to be?
And that's a great message again to the viewers, is that this applies to all stages of life. This applies to your career. This applies to the people you hang out with just for social settings. This applies to entrepreneurs like ourselves that are trying to make it in this industry. Sure. Who do you want to surround yourself with? No, that's awesome. All right, let's talk about 2025. What are you working on right
Let's talk about going to freaking B-Dubs tonight. Why don't you want to go to B-Dubs, guys?
Man, I gotta work, man.
Get out of here. All right, 2025. I don't know, man. I'm focused on growth for sure. I'm starting off strong. We've got 5 loans under contract for this month, which is a new high for me. Okay. I know that doesn't sound like a lot to any of the mega producers out there, but for me, that's my personal best.
You're also, you're starting to build a momentum right now. So
yeah, so
eventually, hopefully, right?
Yeah, so 5 transactions for 1 month. That's my personal best. Granted, awesome. I don't want to put the cart before the horse because I still got to get them closed. Right. We did close one today, though. I closed one today.
Congratulations.
Yeah, the signing earlier today. Yeah, awesome, today's been crazy, man. We had that event from 8 to 12.
That's why he didn't bring the bottle that was supposed to be right there.
We had an event from 8 to 12.
I'll give you some stuff.
I had the branch meeting here at 12:30. I had to get back to Nampa to do the closing.
And then
back to Eagle to do this.
No, hey, the respect. See, that's a great representation of a day well spent. A closing, you got some rah-rah motivation. Event, yeah. And then you're here filming a podcast that could potentially get millions of views. No, I'm just kidding. It'll get 6 views, but we're good with 6.
But yeah, my focus this year, 1, is getting better as a technician. I think finally I'm at a point where I feel very, very comfortable.
You get hit with a question and you're like, oh yeah, boom, 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 boom.
Exactly, because it takes it back. You don't know what you don't know when you first start this business. And so truly you don't know what questions to ask. You don't know the information you don't know until the question gets asked and you're presented with a scenario. And what I want to emphasize too, though, is it's never done.
Right.
You're learning nonstop.
100%.
I'm working a file right now that's teaching me a whole bunch of brand new stuff all of a sudden, and it happens on a daily basis.
Yeah, and the cliche is not every transaction will always be different, So you might get some overlap, but every single one is different.
100%.
And every single person that you deal with is different because no person is truly alike. You may see some tendencies, but you're like, dang, every single time it's a different learning curve, so it's kind of cool. Yeah. So I'm happy for you, man.
But yeah, 2025, man, I think it's going to be a good year. I think one, the market's turning. The market's not turning in the sense that all of a sudden prices are cheaper or interest rates
are coming down. You're seeing some more excitement, maybe.
I think we're seeing acceptance is the word. I don't know if it's even excitement. I think it's acceptance.
Okay, let's use acceptance. That way we don't get shoot out in the comments.
I think it's just acceptance of like, this is the reality. Rates are not ever going to be 3% again.
Right.
I think we're coming to grips.
Yeah, let's get rid of that.
We're coming to grips with it's going to be between 6 and 7. We're kind of understanding what the economy is going to look like with Donald Trump. So we're just in a market where I think people are finally accepting what the reality is, and the people who've been on the fence, they can't be on the fence for too much longer. I mean, how many years have we been waiting and saying, one more year and interest rates are going to come down? It's been 2 or 3 years already. You think those 2 or 3 years have gone by, people have had kids, people have changed jobs, people have had deaths in the family, people have had whatever it is that these life events cause. You can't be on the fence for forever. These guys who have all been waiting, they're itching to get into the market, man.
Yeah, 100%. So now let's throw a curveball at Patrick. This is another segment where we throw another curveball at Patrick. All right, let's talk about let's talk about a family. Look, there's a lot of families that have been sitting out on the fences. Okay, now let's talk scenarios now. Let's talk a quick scenario. Sure. And I have the notebook right here. That way we can kind of put it pen to paper. And just to give our viewers an idea of maybe what they don't know. Like you said, you don't know what you don't know. So let's say there's a lot of homes in the Nampa Caldwell area that are, for anywhere from 300 and up, right? So let's look at a first-time home buyer that has a young family, maybe one kid. They're about to have their second, but they want to get into their first house. So let's say they are looking at properties, and it's specifically one that they like that's going to be $390,000. And what would be their best option if they're able to qualify for that, where they don't have to put in as much of a down payment? Could you tell us some programs that maybe they might be able to get into?
Yeah, so I mean,
let's say it's an ideal.
You could have given me at least an even number, maybe 400,000. So
okay,
we can do the easy math.
Let's do easy math.
We can break out a calculator if necessary.
400,000.
So I mean, at 400,000, you're a first-time home buyer.
Yes.
You've got a couple of options. The main best option probably is going to be an FHA route. An FHA loan is going to require 3.5% down. What did you put 400,000 on there? Yeah. So 4 times 3.5 is 14,000.
14,000.
Yeah. So 14,000 is the down payment that you would need for that. But you also got to factor in closing costs.
Closing costs. Typically 1 to 3%. No?
Yeah, they can be even higher than that. Sometimes they could be 2 to 5%.
Correct.
I would say typically the average is about 2%. So 2% of that is another 8,000. So you're talking about 22,000. But the options you're going to have is you're going to have an FHA route to go 3.5% down. You could go conventional. Conventional is going to only require 3% down on the first time home purchase. On a second purchase, you need 5%. But on the first time home purchase, you're only going to need 3% down. The problem with a conventional versus an FHA, I mean, it's not necessarily a problem, but there are two different loan scenarios. On a conventional, typically right now you're going to see a higher interest rate and you're going to see a higher mortgage insurance. The difference is that mortgage insurance can drop off after you have 20% equity in your home. That's where the big myth of you have to have 20% down comes from, is that a lot of people expect that you're going to have 20% down, that way you don't have to pay mortgage insurance.
Right
on an FHA loan, the mortgage insurance is going to be cheaper, most likely, but you can never get rid of that mortgage insurance. It's for the life of the loan.
See, and listen to that right there, viewers. That's the difference between the FHA and then the
conventional. Yeah, so that's one of the major differences there. But as far as in this scenario goes, yeah, you got 3.5% down on an FHA, you've got 3% down on a conventional, but if even the number that we just calculated, the 22,000 on an FHA, right now, what I would say somebody in that scenario, I say, look, if you can save the 14,000, great, you're going to be in great position. Right now in our market, most times we're seeing a seller credit to help cover those closing costs. So that's the big benefit right now is
they can negotiate that for you.
Yeah, is agents are able to negotiate big seller credits. They're able to cover closing costs, maybe buy down the rate, give people a little bit better rate for the first year or two. But what I would say is if they can only get to say 10,000, there's no reason that you can't do a combination of putting your own money down and then taking the rest out as a down payment assistance loan. So down payment assistance loans will allow you to get in with as little as 0.5% down. So on that same $400,000 house, the minimum you would need is $2,000.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily encourage that buyer to only put in $2,000. I would tell them to save as much as they could.
Right on.
Make sure that they're in the best position possible, and if they can save $10,000, great. We take out the other $4,000 on a down payment assistance loan, and we get Kevin to negotiate an $8,000 seller credit. So in that position, you brought in 10 of your own money, you borrowed $4,000 as a down payment assistance program, and then you got the real estate agent to help you negotiate the seller, covering your closing costs.
Right on. That's amazing. And not to put you on the spot or anything, but let's see what the numbers. Do you happen to have your calculator on you right now?
I can figure something out.
All right, so let's do the math right now, so that way our viewers can just get a rough idea of what this is going to look like, and this is a rough estimate, Sure. So 400,000 with a purchase price with a 3.5% down. What is that going to be?
That's 14,000. Yep.
Plus that 18,000, we're looking at
22,000.
Same scenario with a conventional.
So 4 times 3 would be 12 only, so $12,000.
12 G's.
I mean, the closing costs don't change whether it's an FHA or conventional.
So yeah, we're looking at a difference of let's say 2,000 to 5,000.
I take that back. Closing costs can change. I mean, because there's upfront mortgage insurance on an FHA versus it depends on if you're going to have mortgage insurance or not on the conventional. So I guess closing costs could change, but realistically, they're going to be pretty similar.
See, and this is somebody getting into a $400,000 home. I mean, that's a pretty
you can get into a $400,000 home with only $2,000 down. I mean, that's pretty decent. Now, would I encourage someone to do that always? Not necessarily. Right. It depends on how important it is for them to get in that home, how financially secure they are outside of that, because once you use a down payment assistance loan, not only is typically your interest rate going to be slightly higher, but now it's not free money. That's the biggest thing I try to tell people about these down payment assistance.
We'll have to pay it back.
Exactly.
You got to pay Uncle Sam back.
It's a fantastic program for folks who have a hard time saving that $15,000 or $20,000, because don't get me wrong, that's absolutely a lot of money. And
especially
for families that live paycheck to paycheck, they still deserve an opportunity to buy a house.
Right. Most people unfortunately do live paycheck.
So for those families, down payment assistance program absolutely makes sense. If that's the only way for you to get in, and it's going to take a down payment assistance loan for you to be able to get there, great. But if you have the ability to save that money, I'm always going to encourage you to use your own funds to pay for the down payment versus using down payment assistance programs, because it's not free money. 100%. You're taking a secondary loan out to be able to cover that down payment.
Yeah, so now let's build on this. This was an ideal situation. You know, the ideal client, they had everything. Their file was great. Now let's talk about somebody who needs a little bit of work, who needs kind of like a game plan to get to that point. What are some things that you suggest to get somebody prepared 6 months from now to be able to purchase?
It's just going to...
This happens often, guys.
It's just going to depend on the scenario, but absolutely, you're right. I mean, I think my average is probably freaking 3 months from application to the time we're closing, but it all depends on the buyer scenario. I mean, it depends on if they have their 2-year work history. It depends on if we're trying to pay down debt, if we need some credit repair things, right, if whatever it is that we're working on. So it all depends on that person's specific scenario. What I would do is, client calls you and says, hey, I'm looking to buy a house. You're going to say, that's great. Have you talked to a lender yet? Let me hook you up with my buddy Patrick.
Sure.
He'll give you a call. So I'm going to call this client, and I'm just going to talk to them. I'm going to talk to them about their work history and what they've been doing. I'm going to talk to them about where their credit score is. I'm going to talk to them about any outstanding debts they might have. I'm going to talk to them about how much money they have saved for a down payment, what their ideal monthly payment looks like, whether or not they're renting right now, and what they pay for rent so that we don't have much of a payment shock, those kind of things. So once I spend 15 minutes talking to someone, I can tell you pretty quickly whether or not they're ready to buy or not. And if they're not ready to buy, we start putting a plan in place.
Exactly.
If it's the work history that we're worried about, okay, we got to wait till we get a 2-year work history. If you've only been working for 18 months, I'm sorry, we got to wait till we have 2 years.
Right.
Now, you don't have to be 2 years in the same consecutive job.
Key point right there.
You can move from job to job to job. It doesn't always look the best, and it just depends on what type of job you're leaving to what type of job you're going to. Correct. Because if you're going to if you're going from a W-2 job to 1099 in a completely different line of work, now all of a sudden we're going to need 2 years of history as a 1099. So, but if you were a W-2 employee at Jiffy Lube and then you leave that job and you're a W-2 employee at Walmart, I mean, you're still a W-2 employee. We can count now the income at the next job. So those types of scenarios are fine. What I typically see when people aren't quite ready is because they have too much debt and they need to work on credit scores.
And that's like a national thing. Like most people are drowning in like student loans or credit card debt.
And not everybody. The great thing about our job is you get to see all walks of life and what makes people successful.
Yes.
And you also get to learn from other people's mistakes.
Yes.
I mean, what we do as loan officers, we unpack a lot of dirty laundry. We got to ask about everything. We have to know everything. You know what I mean? We ask about your IRS tax bill. We ask about your child support bill that you owe. We ask about why do you have this medical collection? Why do you have whatever it might be? And
because it all shows up.
We unpack all of your history. And that's why you need a loan officer that you can trust, because you do have to disclose a whole lot of information that you expect me to not share with anybody else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
100%.
So there's a lot of things that we have to unpack that not everyone is comfortable with, and they don't necessarily trust you at first. But you have to build that rapport you build that rapport with the client, you build that trust, and then you try to come off at least as an advisor to help put them in the best possible position to buy when they're ready. Not on your timeline, because at the end of the day, we want people to be able to buy right off the bat. You want a polished file as soon as it comes in. That would be absolutely outstanding. But the reality of the situation is that's not how they are. 90% of those are going to need a little bit of work. 90% of those you're going to need to maybe hold their hand a little bit to get them from point A to point B. But that's okay. That's what we're here for.
That's why we're here. We're here to help people ultimately. No,
I mean, we don't have to do them always like that, but I think this was a good episode though overall. We're gonna wrap it up on this one. At the end of the day, you guys know what we're here for is just to help share insights about the real estate industry, about financial literacy, motivation, anything that we can do to help. We're always a phone call away. Just reach out.
And then on top of that, we're having just random conversations. We're two amigos just hanging out, and we're trying to make it here in the real estate industry. So let's wrap it up, man.
Two amigos out here.
Yeah. Well, that's how I wrapped up the last one. So, all right.
Deuces.